Locker Room, with all the sports news you need, live.
Well, good afternoon. Welcome to the Locker Room on this Sunday afternoon. As always, I'm your host, Graeme Duffy. Usually here till 5 o'clock, but a little bit of a shorter show today because talking to myself for an hour is very difficult to do. But yeah, here till about 4 o'clock, looking back on the games from this weekend, starting with the game from Dingwall earlier today. Hope you've had a good weekend and everyone's keeping well. We're obviously back to our usual shows during the week. We've got a show on Tuesday to cover Celtic in the Champions League. We're obviously back on Thursday as well to cover Rangers taking on Tottenham and Hearts taking on Copenhagen. And then on Friday, we're back for our normal show, where it's a big show on Friday, because on Friday it is a draw for the World Cup qualifiers, which Scotland will be in. So that's who Scotland are going to take on Friday. Looking forward to that. We've got our first comment of the day from Conrad saying, all right, Graeme, all right, Conrad, hope you're doing well, mate. So, as I say, let's look back on the action from this weekend, and we'll start with the game at lunchtime today in Dingwall, which finished Ross County 0, Rangers 3. Rangers taking lead on 6 minutes through Igamani, his deflected shot of Ezekiel Wright. They got the second goal after 37 minutes from Danilo after a horrendous mistake from the goalkeeper Jack Hamilton. You can believe my cat in the background going mental. He's been fed. And the game was wrapped up in 86 minutes through James Tavernier getting his second goal in the last couple of games. Now, going at this game, obviously, Rangers were they were favourites for this game because, you know, Ross County have not had a great season, but Ross County's home record has actually been not too bad. That's where they picked up most of their wins. Ross County has won 3 games all season, and they were all at Dingwall. So it's going to be difficult. And I actually thought Ross County started the game quite well. You know, they started the game very well. 50 seconds on the clock. Alex Samuel does really well. He gets past John Suter, but he shots over the bar. And they were very brave in their formation, Ross County, because they played 2 up front. They did play Alex Samuel, and they also played Ronan Hale. Ronan Hale's got 4 goals this season. Now, we'll come to Ross County shortly in a wee minute. But they did start the game very well. But the game changes in that first goal. 6 minutes in, it's really good play by Igamani. He takes a shot early. It is deflected. Now, I've heard a few folks saying it was going in anyway. I don't know if it wasn't. Jack Hamilton might have got it. But the deflection takes it over him. He's got no chance. But you've got to say fair play to Igamani. I think given the fact Rangers have not had a great season this season, he's been a shining light recently. He looks strong. He looks quick. He's not afraid to take the shot on. A lot of strikers might have tried to pass that, but he didn't. He took the shot out of the box. If you don't shoot, you don't score. So he does well to get the shot away. And then you're thinking, right, Rangers probably dominate the game now. But to be fair to County, they did come back into the game. You know, without really creating a lot of chances on Jack Butland's goal, they were still looking a threat. I thought Conor Randall was really good in the midfield. Ex-Hearts player, of course, but I thought he was decent. But the problem with Ross County is they don't have enough quality going forward, I don't think. Apart from Ronan Hale, they don't really have much else. Ross County scored 12 goals all season. They're the lowest goal scorers in the league, and that's the reason why they don't score enough goals. They get in some great positions, but just don't score. I was looking at some of the stats earlier, and like I said, all the wins this season have come at home. So this is going to be a difficult game for Rangers today, but Ross County's away record is awful. They've not won an away game all season. This is why I've kind of said that I think Ross County might go down this season just because of lack of quality going forward. You know, take Ronan Hill at the side. Where's the goals coming from? You know, they brought on Eamon Brophy later on in the game, who's a good player, but he's not really that instinctive striker that I think they need. January could be massive for them. They need to bring in reinforcements to try and get them up the league. Now, they are currently sitting 8th, which maybe doesn't look that bad, but they've got to start winning games, and especially with home. But Rangers, pretty much after that, really did dominate the game. But the second goal in 37 minutes, you know, you're always in the game at 1-0. Ross County have got a chance. You know, you're in the game. But the game event, for me, essentially finishes with that second goal. And I don't know what Jack Hamilton's doing. Both played back to him, and he seems to take an eternity. It's a really poor first touch. He takes a terrible first touch. Danilo, like every good striker does, closes him down. He wins the ball back and scores. It's a horrendous mistake from Jack Hamilton, who actually, before that, had actually done quite well. He made a couple of really big saves to keep themselves in the game, but you can't legislate for a mistake like that. It's really poor goalkeeping. And after that, Rangers really just do go on and dominate. You know, I thought Ross County's second half tried to come back into the game without really creating too much. There was one chance later on in the game. I think Jack Butland's only save of the game from my header, I think from right. But apart from that, they created very, very little. And the third goal, it's a really good strike from James Tavernier. You know, he has taken so much stick this season. And I've said it before on the show, I do get it. He's the captain. Rangers aren't winning. The captain always takes kind of the blame for that. But there's other players in that team who have not done enough. It's not just James Tavernier, but it's a brilliant strike. The ball's played along him, and it's a really, really difficult finish. But he strikes it really well. And Jack Hamilton stood there. He's got no chance. It's a brilliant finish from Tavernier. Like I said, 2 goals in his last 2 games. Tavernier's starting to look like maybe the player that it used to be. But there's big games to come for Rangers. But in the end, it ended up being a very comfortable win for Rangers. With that 3-0 win, they are now 2 points behind Aberdeen. Aberdeen have dropped off a little bit. I'll come to them later, but they have dropped off a little bit. Aberdeen now have gone 5 games without a win. Rangers starting to pick up momentum. They've now scored 10 goals in the last 2 games and kept 2 clean sheets. And I think another big reason for that is John Souttar. I thought John Souttar was excellent today. Now, granted, he didn't have a lot to do, but what he did do, he dealt with very well. His recovery tackling, his recovery pace is very good. We all know John Souttar's a really good defender. He showed it for Scotland in the 2 games previously. He's such a good footballer. He's composed on the ball. He can pick a pass. He can pick a cross. This was Andy Robertson's goal for Scotland. But John Souttar, the issue with him is always the fitness issue. If Rangers can keep him fit, then for me, he's Rangers' best defender by an absolute mile. I actually think Leon Balogun looked pretty good as well today. It definitely does seem that Balogun and Souttar are Rangers' 2 best centre-backs. Jeffy is starting to look a lot better on that left-hand side now. He was very good today. Connor Barham, again, someone that divides opinion from fans. I thought Barham was pretty decent today. Just mopped up and kept things very simple. But Rangers do look better going forward, I think, with Igamani on the pitch. I just think he's gives them something a bit different than what other strikers do. Danilo gets his goal today. Having him fit is massive as well. Dessel's on the bench, where he may well have to stay, the way that things are going just now. But it was a pretty routine win for Rangers in the end. But they've got big games to come. On Thursday, they've got that massive Europa League game against Tottenham at home. And then they've got the big game against Celtic in the League Cup next week. So 2 massive, massive games. These could be defining moments in Rangers' season. Now, I do still believe that Rangers will qualify because currently they are sat on 10 points. They're sitting 8th. Tottenham are also sitting on 10 points. They're sitting 9th. So it's a big game for both teams. But I still think Rangers will qualify. Now, they've got Man United to come as well in this, but I do believe that they will qualify for this, even through the playoff, if it's not through the automatic way. But it's a big, big game. It'll get obviously hyped up this week as the Battle of Britain, which of course it is. Tottenham have not been that good this season under Postecoglou, who got a lot of stick last week after the home defeat, or after the defeat to Bournemouth, where he got booed off. Postecoglou coming back to Glasgow, going to Ibrox. It's going to be a big, big game for him. He'll be up for it. Spurs will be up for this. But it's a game that if you're looking at, I think Rangers right now, it's a game they can probably think they can maybe get 3 points from. I think right now they take a point. If they were offered it, I think they would definitely take a point. But it's a big, big game, and none more so than that game next week. Given all the stick that Rangers have had, given how poor their season's been, if they could win the League Cup next week against a Celtic side that looks rampant just now, and I'll come to them shortly as well, it'll be massive. Not just for Rangers, but for Clermont. Clermont's been getting so much stick and so much pressure, and that comes with managing one of the Rangers and Celtic. It comes from managing one of these 2 teams. But if they could somehow find a way to win this, it would be massive. But he's not beat Celtic yet in a meaningful game. So it's going to be difficult. And the big question mark will be as well. This is something that gets spoken about a lot. I've just mentioned Tavernier and the fact that he's managed to get 2 goals in his last 2 games. But whenever Celtic play Rangers, Daizan Maeda, who's had a very good season, has Tavernier on toast. So what does Clermont do? Does he not play Tavernier? Does he play Sterling to try and cope with that? It'll be interesting because I do think Tavernier will probably play, but how does he cope? So that'll be interesting. But yeah, Rangers, I wouldn't say coming back into form because obviously they beat Kilmarnock 6-0. Kilmarnock were dreadful. And they played the Ross County side that don't score goals. But it's 2 big wins for them. Don't get me wrong, it is 2 good wins for them. And they are now 2 points behind Aberdeen, who have dropped off. But these next 2 games for Rangers are going to be massive. Moving on to Ross County. Now, again, going at this game, I think probably it was a game that they would have looked at and thought, we beat Rangers last season by 3-2. It was a game maybe thought they could have get something out of. But I keep going back to the point, they just don't score goals. They are the lowest goal scorers in the league with 12. Ronan Hale's got 4 of them. If you can't score goals, you're going to struggle. And obviously, you need to keep clean sheets as well. there's nothing you can do about the first goal. Igamani's shot deflected, nothing you can do about that. There's not a lot you can do either about the goalkeeper like Jack Hamilton making a mistake like that for the second goal. That's just individual errors. And I'm sure that Kew will be tearing his hair out. Now, I do like Don Kimmy. I think he's a decent guy. I hope he does well. But I just don't see enough quality in that side for them to stay up. Now, right now, they are 3 points in front of Hibs, who are bottom. Now, there's not a big gap between, if I'm looking at the league table, 12th and 7th. There's not actually that big a gap there. It's like 6 points. So things can change very quickly. But I just don't see enough on that county side that says they're going to stay up. They go to Easter Road next week, which is going to be a very difficult test, and they've not won away from home all season. I don't see them winning that game. I hope they do, obviously, as a Hearts fan. But yeah, I think it'll be very difficult for County. But I, right now, would have to say that I still think County might go down. Now, if they can sign a couple of players in January, a striker, absolutely. They do have Jordan White, who we know can get goals, but not enough. I just mentioned Damon Brophy coming off the bench, but they just don't have that clinical striker. And my worry for County would be that if Ronan Hale gets injured, who do they have? They don't really have another option there. So yeah, it will be difficult for County, and I just don't see them having enough quality to stay up. The start of the season, we did this thing on the Locker Room show at the start of the season, I think very, very early on, where we tipped the team to go down. And I think we all said St Johnstone. I'm changing my opinion to Ross County, just because I don't see enough in their squad that I think they're going to stay up, and the quality just isn't there. They'll make it difficult for teams in Dingwall. Absolutely. It's a really difficult place to go, as every team has found out. But away from home, their record is really, really poor. Like I said, they've not won a game all season away from home. That needs to change. Starting next week against Hibs. I just don't see it. I just don't see them staying up. So yeah, difficult for Ross County today. The pitch I don't think was great either. There was a lot of players lost their foot on it. But very, very comfortable for Rangers. And then now going into these next two games against Spurs and Celtic, which could, like I said, be a defining week for them. Moving on to one of those aforementioned teams, Celtic, who yesterday took on Hibs at Celtic Park. Celtic winning by 3-0. Arnie Engels with the opening goal after 6 minutes, an own goal from Joe Newell after 54 minutes, and the game was wrapped up by a phenomenal goal by Kyogo after 84. Good afternoon to Paul Donaldson. Hope you're well, pal. St Johnstone were good yesterday. Aberdeen were awful, an embarrassment and a disgrace. I will come to that very, very shortly, Paul. But yeah, I mean, I think if you've not watched the highlights of that Celtic game last night, and all you've done is look at the score and think 3-0 Celtic, you think run-of-the-mill game, comfortable. It actually wasn't. Hibs had a lot of chances yesterday. Now, I looked at the stats at this game. Hibs had 9 efforts on target. Very, very rarely will a team go to Celtic Park and have that many attempts on goal and not score one. But this is the thing. Although the opening goal for Celtic came in 6 minutes, Hibs had 2 chances before that. The very first minute, Kucherevich has put through with a great ball. He's onside. He's 1-on-1. He's managed to beat Trusty. Trusty's not getting there. But Kasper Schmeichel, just like his father, makes himself big. It's a really good stop. Not long after that, there's another effort as well from a corner kick. They both put it to the edge of the box. I don't know if it's Lewis Miller that takes the shot, but again, it's saved by Kasper Schmeichel. Hibs started that game very well yesterday, but I've said it so many times on this show, and we've all said it. When you go to Celtic Park or Ibrox, when you play when you play Rangers or Celtic, if you get chances, you have got to take them, and especially at Celtic Park. And the Hibs had that yesterday. They had chances, didn't take them. The first goal from Arnie Engels is good play on the right-hand side from Kuhn. He holds the ball up. The run of Alistair Johnson on the outside. It's a really good ball in, and Arnie Engels is there to tap it in the back of the net. And after such a great start from Hibs, they find themselves to go behind in Celtic's first attack. But that's what Celtic can do to you, though. They are ruthless. They showed that against Hearts a few weeks ago. First half, Hearts played very well, had some big chances, didn't take them. And the second half, they just swept us aside with their quality. But that's what Celtic can do to anybody. But yeah, I mean, even after that, not long after that, Hibs are through again. And it's that man Kucherevich again. He's put clean through again. But this time he takes a really poor second touch. His first touch isn't bad, but his second touch takes it too far ahead of him. And then he's kind of rushing. And Kasper Schmeichel comes out and blocks it again. But that's 2 big chances for Kucherevich. You cannot miss these. You simply cannot miss those chances at Celtic Park, but he does. But they were causing problems. I actually thought, looking at the highlights, Hibs played some decent football yesterday. Now, it feels weird to say that you've lost 3-0, but you can take positives, but Hibs definitely can. in terms of Celtic, they did have chances as well. Of course, they did. They're expected to. But the second goal doesn't come till the 54th minute. It comes from a corner kick. It's flicked on at the front post by Ida, and it's knocked into the back of the net by Joe Newell. Disappointing for him. It's nothing he can really do about it. But after that, you're thinking that it's definitely game over now. But even then, Hibs come back into the game again. They've got another couple of chances. A volley that is, again, really well saved, tipped over the bar by Kasper Schmeichel. So it's not like at any point Hibs were out the game. One goal could have changed things, but they just couldn't find a way past Schmeichel, who was excellent yesterday. Probably a lot busier than I expected to be. And then the third goal, it's absolute brilliance from Kyogo. He takes the pass from James Forrest. Forrest plays it into him. He takes an incredible first touch. And his second touch just sits the keeper down, flicks it over him. It is sensational. But I've said it so many times about Kyogo. He doesn't have to be in a game for ages, but he'll score. That's just what Kyogo does. And his movement, I've talked about it numerous times when he was Michael and Reagan and stuff. His movement is incredible. He never stops. He plays on the shoulder. He's always looking for that ball in behind. But that first touch is just, it's fantastic. And his second touch, obviously, over the keeper is brilliant. And then it's game over. I don't think Celtic were at their best yesterday, but they didn't have to be. They've won the game 3-0. They've kept a clean sheet, mainly thanks to Kasper Schmeichel. But what that does is it moves them 9 points clear at the top of the table, going into two big games. They play Dinamo Zagreb on Tuesday, a game that I think Celtic will win. Now, currently in the Champions League, they are sitting 20th on 8 points, but they're only 2 points off the top 8. I think they'll beat Zagreb. I genuinely do. I think the way they're playing just now, I think they will beat Zagreb. I think Celtic have got every chance to qualify as like the automatic places rather than the playoff place. And then they've got young boys at home, which I think they'll win as well. And it might then make the game against Aston Villa meaningless because they've qualified already. But yeah, Celtic went at the best yesterday, but the quality they've got, we keep on saying that. You look at the bench, the players they can bring on, it's ridiculous how strong they are. And then they go into that game next week against Rangers, a game that they'll be firm favourites for in the Cup. And I don't really see a way that Rangers beat them. Now, I said it earlier that, of course, Rangers can go there and get a win. Anything can happen. But I just don't see it. They're going to have to be on it for 90 minutes, maybe even longer. They're going to have to hope that Celtic are an off day. But right now, that's not really happening. And even if Celtic aren't at their best, they still have the quality to bring on that can cause problems. So yeah, it was a decent win for Celtic yesterday, though not at their best. But they've got 3 goals. I think the big one for me is Arne Engels. He has been getting a bit of stick recently. I've kind of given him stick on this show, thinking £11 million, he's not really done enough. But he gets the goal yesterday, that'll boost his confidence massively. I still think that Luke McKeown for Celtic is such a good signing. Said it at the time, I love the way he plays. Going to Celtic's a big move for him. Could he show what he's capable of when he gets a chance? And he's definitely doing that. He's creative. He's got a fierce shot on him, as he showed a couple of times yesterday. And yeah, I think Luke McKeown's a really good player, but Arne Engels will do a lot of confidence with that goal yesterday. He didn't really celebrate it that much. Maybe it's because of the tick he's been getting, I don't know. But I didn't really celebrate it as much as I thought he might. But yeah, it's a big one for Celtic yesterday. And these next 2 games now, like Rangers, will be big games for them. I do expect them to go to Zagreb and win. I genuinely do, and I think they will get through. And then that big game next week, that's going to be absolutely massive. But I still think Celtic will win the game quite comfortably. Now, we'll do the obviously show on Friday, and we'll do a prediction for the show. But I'm going to go 3-0 Celtic. I just don't see a way that they don't beat Rangers. But you never know. Like I said, things can happen. But yeah, I think Celtic will win. And the gap is now 9 points. Aberdeen have dropped off massively. No wins in the last 5 games. I've said it previously. I think Celtic now win the league by about 20 odd points, if not more. They're just going to keep powering away. And I don't really see who beats them. Said it previously that I think Celtic are going beaten this season. I still believe that, because who's going to beat them? Hibs had chances yesterday, didn't take them, and Celtic run at 3-0 winners. So I just don't see who beats them. In terms of Hibs, I'll have a little drink of my juice. In terms of Hibs, it wasn't the hammering that a lot of folk thought. Now, like I said, anyone that's not seen the game, you'll think that's quite comfortable. It really wasn't. Hibs played very well yesterday. David Gray can take positives at the game. The fact they went to Celtic Park, they went toe-to-toe, they played with 2 up front. They tried to get forward and tried to make things happen, but it's those chances that they missed. Maybe missing them is harsh, because Kasper Schmeichel does very well. You know, Kasper Schmeichel's made some really big saves yesterday, but you've got to take these chances one-on-one. You know, I think they had 3 one-on-ones in the end yesterday and didn't take any of them. It was actually, I think it was Junior Hoylett in the second half again. It's a poor back pass, actually, from the guy that I just mentioned, Luke McKeown. And again, Schmeichel makes a really big save, but you've got to be taking these chances. You can't miss those. But there's definitely positives from Hibs yesterday. You know, they went to Celtic Park, they played very well. When you lose the opening goal after 6 minutes, you think this could be 5 or 6 here. They kept themselves in the game, created chances. So I heard David Gray after the game yesterday. You know, he did take a lot of positives, rightly so, but they've got to stop winning games. You know, they're now back to the bottom of the league. They've got Ross County next week at home. They've also got a big derby to come at Tynecastle. Now, derby games are so hard to predict, the Edinburgh derbies. The last one at Easter Road, Hibs should have won the game, if I'm going to be honest. They had plenty of chances, didn't take them. But like yesterday. But that game at Tynecastle on the 26th is going to be huge. You know, they've also got Aberdeen as well to come, I think, in the next couple of weeks as well. So they've got big games to come. But they can definitely take heart from the fact that they can create chances. They just need to start taking them. I thought Jordan Smith, the goalkeeper, was decent yesterday. I've said previously, I don't think Hibs have got a decent goalkeeper there because Bursic has been dreadful. Jordan Smith, I don't think he come himself for glory recently, but I thought he did okay yesterday. You know, he did what he could do with the goals. But yeah, I mean, Hibs, I still think Hibs will get out of this. I do. I think they will get out of this. I do believe that both Hearts and Hibs will turn their form around. I'll come to Hearts very shortly, but Hibs, I think, showed enough yesterday to say that they can get out of this. But this is now the worst start to a top flight for Hibs since the 79-80 season. It's not been great, but if you actually go back to a few of the games they played this season, they should have taken more points than they've got, but they're not clinical enough. So yeah, it's going to be difficult. Paul Donaldson says Hibs will beat Aberdeen. That game will be Pittodrie though. Yes, it's an interesting one. You know, I'll get to Aberdeen in a minute, but yeah, it's an interesting one, that. But I do think that Hibs have shown enough. You know, they got 3 goals against Aberdeen. They should have had a couple of goals yesterday. So there's definitely positives from Hibs, but again, it's defensively, they just look a bit vulnerable for me. But I do believe they'll get out of this. I think they've got a squad there, and come the January window, if they can just add to that with a couple of quality players, I think they need another striker. You know, Kucherevich is still a young laddie. He will learn lessons, but you can't be missing chances like he did yesterday against Celtic at Celtic Park. They need another striker, I think, and a really, really strong centre-back, because I still think they're a bit too weak defensively. Aviation. Graeme, thoughts on Shankland scoring again? I'll be coming to that very shortly, mate. But yeah, I do think Hibs can take positives from yesterday, even though it's another defeat. But yeah, Celtic 3, Hibs 0 yesterday. Let's move on to let's move on to other games from yesterday. And let's go to Pittodrie. Aberdeen 1, St Johnstone 1. St Johnstone taking the lead after 25 minutes through Mackenzie Kirk, who I really like. Aberdeen did get level second half, 56 minutes through Leighton Clarkson. Aberdeen kind of huffed and puffed and, again, didn't really blow the house down. But it is now 5 with no wins for Aberdeen. And, again, watching the highlights, I thought they were very sluggish. They did create chances, but just didn't look like Aberdeen of old. I thought St Johnstone were very good. Mackenzie Kirk, I thought, was excellent given the highlights that I saw. Took his goal very well. It's poor from Aberdeen, though, for the goal. It's a crossing at the box. It's not defended well enough, but you've got to give Kirk credit because he gambles, he's in the box, and he takes it very well, lashes it past Roth doing. But Aberdeen just looked lethargic yesterday. I don't know what it is. At the moment, they're just not looking as good as they have previously. You know, even against Hearts last week, I didn't think they were that great. You know, they scored an only shot on target in the first half through Clarkson, really good goal. But I didn't think Aberdeen were great against Hearts. I thought Duke made a massive difference. They came on yesterday. You know, that pace, that energy that he gave them, that drive that he gave them. But apart from that, they just looked very, very lethargic. I thought defensively they were cut a few times the ball over the top. There was a couple of times Mackenzie Kirk nearly got in. And with a bit of better luck, a bit of better finishing, you know, St John's could have been a couple of goals up yesterday. Paul says, Shinnie and Nielsen were awful in the first half. Nielsen's rightly brought off at half-time. But to be fair, Shinnie was better in the second half. Yeah, I mean, Shinnie didn't start against Hearts last week because when the bench came on and he didn't really do that much. But, you know, Aberdeen have such a great season. And they've just dropped off a little bit, which I think was to be expected. They were never going to keep this up for the full season. But I think it's the lack of energy that I think I've noticed with Aberdeen yesterday. They look a bit lethargic. especially first half. First half they didn't really create a lot. It wasn't like the goalkeeper Ray was really massively tested. But second half, they definitely looked a bit more spark about them. As soon as they get the equaliser through Leighton Clarkson, I thought Aberdeen looked a lot better. But it's Duke that makes the difference for me. That pace, like I said, that willingness to drive at defenders, he's got that. I don't really see enough from Aberdeen apart from that. They do have Papageta come back, who started the season very well. I don't know when he's due back. But they need that spark back. They've not got a game next week. That might be a good thing, getting that bit of rest about them. But there's just something not quite there with Aberdeen just now. And they have dropped off massively. They put a lot into the game against Celtic in midweek. Maybe that's got something to do with it. Again, then playing on Saturday, I don't know if that's maybe something to do with it. The fact that they're having to play that midweek game against Celtic, a high pressure, high octane game, lost the game by 1-0, but put so much into it. Maybe that's the reason why there was that lack of energy yesterday. But yeah, I mean, Aberdeen, it's difficult to criticise because they have had a good season. They're sitting second just now. It is only 2 points ahead of Rangers. Paul says Gay hopefully back in January. He'll be a massive boost when he's back because I think he has been missed. That presence up top and that natural goal scorer, which you wouldn't have thought at the start of the season, but Gay was excellent. But yeah, Aberdeen have just dropped off a little bit. But I do think they will find that form again. I think having this break now, because they've not got a game next week, that will definitely help. It will give them that bit more energy back. But, it is now 2 points in front of Rangers. Rangers starting to pull that gap back. I still believe that Aberdeen will finish second. They will certainly finish top three. I don't think there's any doubt about that for me. They will definitely finish in the top three. Catching Celtic, I think that's gone. Like I say, I think Celtic never win the league by comfortable 21 points. But you can't take away what Aberdeen have done this season. They've had a fantastic season. Jimmy Thielen's done very well. He will get a January window, and I'd imagine he'll strengthen in a few areas. I don't know what areas you want to strengthen, Paul, in January. Maybe another striker, to help out. I know Kevin Nisbet's done okay, but maybe that bit more quality up front to help out. We need 3 or 4 new signings in January. The thing is, though, the difficult thing, I always think the January window is the most difficult one. The summer you've got ages to sign players. January is always difficult. You've got 4 weeks to try and sign players. Obviously, teams up the price for players because they know that you're desperate. I think January is very difficult for everybody to try and sign players. But if Aberdeen can't strengthen in the areas that you need to strengthen, then they will definitely come back stronger. I think you have to give massive credit to Jimmy Thielen because he has turned the Aberdeen team around. There's no doubt about that. Apparently, there was some booing at the end of the game yesterday, which I do get it. Home to St Johnstone, you've not won the game. It's 5 games with no wins, but I think Aberdeen fans have got a bit more patient. You've done a very good season so far. Let's be honest. If you start the season and said that Aberdeen will be second come December, I think you need to snap the hand off for that. So I think you've got to be careful what you wish for. They've had a very good season. Like I said, they have dropped off a little bit, but you can't look at Aberdeen and say that they don't deserve credit because they do. They play some really good football. They've been difficult to beat. There have been a few games this season where maybe they've been a little bit fortunate. The game against Hearts at Pittodrie, Hearts should have won that game. You look at the game at Dens Park against Dundee, they were maybe a bit fortunate with that one, but you make your own luck in this game. If you're winning games, even not playing well, then that's what it takes. So I think you've got to give Aberdeen massive, massive credit. There was a little bit of booing at halftime and quite a lot of full time. See, I know that when you don't win it can't be frustrating, but I think you've got to look at it as a whole, how Aberdeen have done this season. Nobody expected this. Nobody expected the turnaround. Jimmy Thielen's come in, had a great start to the league season. Obviously, we're very good in the League Cup. They are in the Scottish Cup, obviously, against Elgin City, a game that I think they'll win. Go on a cup run, it could be massive for Aberdeen because it's been a while since Aberdeen won a cup and it's too long for a team like Aberdeen. But they deserve a lot of credit for the way they've played this season. I get the frustration at times of not beating St Johnstone at home. But again, I think you've got to give St Johnstone credit as well. I think Aberdeen have come a long, long way. So to be booing Aberdeen at full time, I think, you need a bit of patience here. In terms of St Johnstone, said it previously, really, really impressed with Valakari, what he's done since he's come in. To turn that team around from let's be honest, a bit of a hoofball team to a team that wants to try and play possession, wants to try and play attacking football. They've definitely now got an identity about them, which you can definitely see coming. Mackenzie Clark, I think, has been very good. I mean, I always liked Mackenzie Kirk when he was at Hearts in the B team. He's someone I want to see do very well, and I'm glad that he's now getting that recognition. He's got 2 goals for St Johnstone now this season, but he's a threat in behind. You know, you look at Kimpioka, look at Sidibe, they are very similar, very quick, but Mackenzie Kirk wants to get in the box. He wants to score goals, just like his dad, Andy, at Hearts. He was a natural finisher. Mackenzie Kirk's got that as well. I've said it to Alistair previously. I was really pleased that Kirk got that move to St Johnstone because I do like him and I think he'll do well. So hopefully that's getting improved right now. But you can definitely see an identity under Valakari. They've got big games to come. Of course they have. They're currently sitting 9th. Now again, start of the season, we all said that St Johnstone would go down. There's a long way to go. But I think if you look at Valakari and the way that his team play, they are a lot better. But again, it's having that clinical edge in front of goal and keeping clean sheets. You know, you look at the goal they conceded yesterday, it is good play by Duke, but Jack Sannes is out of position. You know, he just leaves Clarkson in the box on his own and Clarkson can't miss. So there's a few things that obviously Valakari will want to iron out, but there is definite improvement. You know, under Levine, it was very poor. It was boring to watch. It was basically just long ball forward to the 2 guys up front to try and win a ball. You're not getting that now with Valakari. It's much more build-up play, and it's nice to see. St Johnstone know how to run the clock down. Their keeper was booked for time wasting. Under the new rules they're trialling, we'd have a few corners. I mentioned that on Friday to Reagan, actually. He didn't know this. But yeah, so there is a trial coming in that if a goalkeeper holds on to the ball for far too long, then a corner is going to be given to the opposing team. Now, I don't know what happened with the 6-second rule. That came in at one point, but if a goalkeeper hands the ball for like 6 seconds, it's an indirect free kick. I don't know if that's completely gone out the window now. You never see it nowadays. But I can understand why they're time wasting. You know, you're 1-1 at Pataudry, you're looking to try and get a point on the board. I can understand why you do it. But it'll be interesting to see just how quick goalkeepers are now with this new trial coming in. Will it make them think a bit quicker? I'm not sure it will. I genuinely don't think it will. But it'll be interesting to see. This will be another thing that we'll try and it'll be an absolute disaster. A bit like VAR coming in. You know, it'll be horrendous for a few months. But yeah, interesting. But I mean, yeah, you have to give credit to St Johnstone. Going to Pataudry, I said on Friday that I thought Aberdeen would win, but it'd be difficult. And St Johnstone made it tough. You know, watching again the highlights last night, they did make it difficult. I thought second half, like I said, after the equaliser, I thought Aberdeen were the better side, looked more likely to score. But St Johnstone did carry that threat with the pace up front. But I honestly think St Johnstone this season, I think they'll be okay. I genuinely think there's something about them that I think they'll be fine. But yeah, a decent point for St Johnstone, disappointing for Aberdeen. But like I said, I think you've got to give credit to Aberdeen for the way they started the season. It's been very, very impressive. And I think they will get better with this break and new signings in January. Sorry, it's a long... Talking for half an hour on your own is difficult here. I need a bit of refuel. So, let's move on to Tynecastle. Hearts 2, Dundee 0. He's back, baby. Lawrence Strickland's back. A double from the captain. 21st minute and 31 minutes. Hearts, in the end, very comfortable. I'll come to Dundee very shortly. But in terms of Hearts, we were very impressive, especially first half. I thought we were excellent. We were pressing, we were harrying. We didn't give Dundee any time on the ball. When you've got guys like Lyle Cameron in that Dundee side who's a creative player, you don't want to give him time on the ball. And I thought Hearts were excellent. Cammy Devlin and both times dominated that midfield. I was very, very pleased with Neil Critchley, the fact that he started James Wilson, the 17-year-old. A lot of managers might have thought, I don't want to throw him in. But James Wilson's got 2 goals this season. One of them against Hibs and Derby. And the fact that he chucked him in there yesterday, I thought made a massive difference. Because what it meant was that Shankland could drop a bit deeper. And he had runners up front where he had Musa Drameh and he had James Wilson. And that really worked. We could stretch the game. Wilson was closing down. Musa was closing down. And it really worked. And the 2 goals, delighted for Shankland. Aviation says, so delighted for Shankland, and his 2 goals were good as well. I mean, the first goal, I have to give massive credit as well to James Penhouse, who I think has been Hearts' best player this season, the left back. He just gives you something different down that left-hand side. And the combination play between him and Spittle down that left has been fantastic. And again, I have to give Wilson credit here because it's a shot from Blair Spittle. Now, it actually starts with Craig Halkett, who I think was brilliant yesterday. Halkett plays it into midfield into Spittle. Spittle drives forward as a shot. It's saved by McCracken, but James Wilson doesn't stop. He gets the ball back, recycles it, plays it to Penrice. Penrice with a great ball at the back post, and it's a brilliant header for Shankland. something he would have done last season. Very reminiscent of a goal he scored at Celtic Park when we won 2-0. It's a great header back across McCracken. And you could see the weight lift off his shoulders. Not just him, but the whole crowd. Everyone was just like relieved that he's finally scored his first goal in 70 days. And it was a really good header, but you could feel the pressure just lift off him. And then 10 minutes, and not long after that, he's got another really good attempt as well. Really good play again by Wilson down the right-hand side. He lays it back in. Shanklin twist and turn. Really good save by McCracken. And that showed the confidence was back. He was trying things that he wouldn't have done before that. 31 minutes on the clock again. It's James Penrose as well. Lovely play out wide on the left-hand side. He fires a cross in. McCracken can only palm it out. And Shanklin into the ground, into the net. And Shanklin's back. The boy is back. Honestly, I was so pleased for him. Because he got a lot of stick after Cercle Bruges. A lot of fans going crazy at him, which I didn't agree with at all. He gave an interview after the game yesterday where he said that the Cercle Bruges game is one of the lowest highlights of his career because of the stick that he got. Now, I did not agree with that at all. Everybody goes through difficult spells in their career. Every striker, every defender, every goalkeeper, everyone goes through it. But it doesn't mean that you just stop trying. And I don't think Shanklin's ever stopped trying. He still works hard, but he just needed that goal to get his confidence back. And then, like, low then buses, you get one, another one comes along. But I thought first half Hearts were very good. Craig Gordon didn't have a save to make in that first half. We were very, very comfortable. Second half was slightly different. I thought Dundee came out a lot better. They made a couple of changes. Simon Murray came on. They had more possession, but didn't really do anything with it. Yeah, the abuse Shanklin got was a disgrace, mate. It really was. I did not agree with that at all. I mean, how can you... The guy's got 60 goals for Hearts over the course of a season, 2 seasons and a half. I don't know how you can abuse the guy for that. You know, has his form been difficult? Of course it has. But no one's more frustrated with Shanklin than that. And I think to give him the abuse that he got, I thought was an absolute disgrace at the time as well. And I'm delighted that he shoved it right up them yesterday, getting those 2 goals yesterday. But yeah, second half was slightly different. Hearts weren't as good second half. Dundee did come back into the game. More possession, but created very little. But even then, Hearts still had chances. And what I liked about Shanklin yesterday was, with those 2 goals coming, he was trying things that he didn't do before. He took a couple of men on, tried to chip the goalkeeper. He would not have done that a couple of weeks ago. And he's really unlucky with the end as well. Thought he was going to get his hat-trick. Again, a really good attempt. Well saved by the goalkeeper, John McCracken, who had an indifferent game. Moussa Drami thought he made it 3-0, but it was clearly offside. John McCracken came out, hit the ball against his own player, and Moussa scored, but it was offside. But yeah, it was just, it was very comfortable. And I have to also applaud Craig Gordon, because that yesterday was his 100th clean sheet for Hearts, which is outstanding. Absolutely fantastic for Craig Gordon. Like I said, didn't have a lot to do. I was surprised at Dundee. I thought they were quite poor. Now, whether it was because of the game in midweek, I don't know, but I thought they were very, very poor. But Hearts were excellent. Special shout out from me as well. I could go through the number of players there. I know I'm making this sound like a Heart podcast, but I'm on my own. I'm a Hearts fan, so what do you expect? Sue me. But anyway, yeah, I mean, I thought Cameron Devlin was brilliant yesterday. He was outstanding. And the big difference for me yesterday is Craig Halkett. Now, I put this on X yesterday. When he's fit, Craig Halkett's our best centre-back. He's composed on the ball. He's calm on the ball. The one thing with Halkett is the injuries. You know, we just can't keep him fit, but I think he's our best centre-back when he's fit. James Penrice, outstanding yet again. What a signing he's been for Livingston. By far our best player. And I'm just delighted to see Shanklin get a couple of goals now. The only downside suspended for the gaming is Kilmarnock in the next week. But yeah, I mean, I'm delighted for Shanklin. The abuse that he got was ridiculous. But we are joined, as you can see, by Regan Stevenson. Regan, how are you, mate?
Doing well, Graeme. How are you?
I'm all right, mate. Not too bad. Just talking about the games yesterday. I was just talking about Hearts against Dundee and how good it was to see Lawrence Shankland finally getting back on the score sheet.
Oh, it's been a long time for him. I mean, he's had to bide his time in that. And obviously, with Shankland, he's a natural goal scorer, Graeme, so I'm just glad to get back in the score sheet. And it must have been a bad time for him. I know a lot of these journalists nowadays did ask questions about how they feel not to score that often, but it must have been hard for him, because I remember me and you spoke about that day when he missed the penalty, Graeme, in Bruges. So I think for him to score 2 goals and I don't know about you, Graham, but you'll be even happier that he's got a big European game during the week as well.
Yeah, and I was just saying there that you could actually sense when he got the first goal that the weight lifted not just off him, but the crowd as well. And he started to then try things that he wouldn't have done 2 weeks ago.
Aye, but I suppose the only consolation for you, Graham, is maybe he's only doing it because he's got a few weeks until the January window. Do you think that'll be something the club will look at to try and bring in some money so he doesn't need to go for a free transfer? Because that's something that Rangers spoke about the other day, that they need to get saleable assets. I mean, for them to get 810 grand for 5 or 6 players is a disgrace. So I think it's about time Scottish clubs actually got some value for the players.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with Shankland is Andrew McKinley we had the AGM last week, and Andrew McKinley said that there's no live contract offer on the table, but we are willing to sit down with Shankland and his representative to try and iron out a new contract. Whether he signs one, I don't know, but we're not getting anywhere near the same money we would have done had we sold him start the season or last season, for example.
I mean, in terms of Shankland, I mean, I think it's going to be interesting because obviously there's been the Rangers talk, but we'll go on the Rangers in a bit, Graham. And obviously Rangers has got a few people that are scoring goals now as well. So would Rangers want him for the second part of the season? So it's going to be interesting.
It will be. I mean, in terms of Dundee yesterday, I just mentioned there that I thought they were very disappointing. Didn't have a shot on target. They have had a good season. They are currently still sitting 6th, but I thought Dundee were very passive yesterday, created virtually nothing. And Craig Gordon didn't have a save to make. I know that Tony Docherty after the game was very frustrated. But yeah, I was expecting more from Dundee yesterday, Regan, but they didn't really offer anything yesterday.
No, Dundee didn't offer much. But I was glad to see Hearts get back to winning ways because they're a big club in Scotland. We don't want to see these big clubs go down, Graham. And I know that a lot of people enjoy going down to the Championship and seeing all these wee stadiums. But I think it's important that we've got so many big derbies as well because it's all about promoting the Scottish product as well.
I mean, I just look at Dundee and I think, John McCracken was called up to the Scotland squad, and ever since then, his form's been pretty poor. And again, I thought, watching the game yesterday, I didn't think McCracken was great for Dundee in goal yesterday.
No, it wasn't, Graham. I'm going to be honest with you, mate. I was at the Celtic game. I didn't see much of the Dundee match, but I'll take your word for it there in terms of wasn't great in goal, but I think that's a few mistakes Cracken's made this season, Graham. I know you get into the Scotland. I know you get into the Scotland squad and that, and he's done okay, but there also needs to be he needs to take some accountability for his mistakes.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I know that Tony Docherty did come out and say that maybe the game in midweek had taken about out of Dundee, but I thought they would offer more yesterday. Like I said, they brought in Murray, but really didn't create anything. And just a word as well, Regan, about Craig Gordon. 100 clean sheet yesterday. What a goalkeeper he has been.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant, Graham. I mean, Craig Gordon, he's nearly 42 years of age next week, so fair play to him.
Before I move on to talk about another couple, the final games yesterday, I will just come back. Obviously, I did the Celtic game earlier, but because Regan was there yesterday, Regan, I was saying earlier on that if anybody didn't see the game and just saw the highlights, they would think that was pretty straightforward for Celtic. But like I said earlier in the show, it certainly wasn't. Hibs created numerous chances. And I looked at the stats yesterday. Hibs had 9 efforts on goal, which is probably more than anyone ever does at Celtic Park. But Kasper Schmeichel was excellent yesterday.
Yeah, that's a big reason why you get these big players, Graham, to come up with big moments. I know people slag Scottish football and say, well, it's only a one-horse race and all that sort of stuff, but I mean, some of the saves that Schmeichel went to make yesterday was incredible. Fair play to him. I wasn't expecting them to be that adventurous, but they played pretty well.
I said earlier that when you play Celtic and Rangers, if you get a chance, you've got to take them. But they've had 3 1-on-1s yesterday. Kucherevich in the first minute, I think he's got to do better. And then not long after that, he's got another chance where he's clean through as well. It takes a really poor touch. Decent save by Schmeichel, but again, big chances for Hibs, but they failed to take any of them.
Yeah, and I think Graham, I think that see the first chance you talk about there, that's a chance when he's got so much time, but he probably doesn't think he's got loads of time. He's got loads of time, and see the more time that he actually takes, he actually gives Michael a better chance of getting it. So see if he just thinks like I've got loads of time, all I need to do is smash this, then it would have been a goal, but he just took too long over it, and he also gave him too much to think about.
I have to, again, I touched on this earlier, but I have to give a word on Kyogo's finish. What a first touch, and what a finish that is for that third goal.
It's amazing, Graham. Really good. I mean, Kyogo's been great. I mean, he's been so good for Celtic over the past couple of years, and I think it's only when he does things like that, people will generally appreciate him. But I don't think he's been the best striker since Henrik Larsson. I still think that's Musa Dembele, Graham. But I mean, what he's done has been brilliant.
Celtic's next two games are Dinamo Zagreb on Tuesday in the Champions League and Rangers, the big one in the semi-final next week. How do you think about these two games, Regan? Starting with Tuesday's night's game against Dinamo Zagreb, where currently Celtic are sitting 20th on 8 points, only 2 points off the top 8. How are you feeling about this one?
I think Celtic can win, and I think they will win. I've been to Zagreb, Graham, a lovely country, Croatia. I've got good memories there. I think Celtic have got a realistic chance, but I tell you something, Graham, I do enjoy the brand new format. It's great.
Yeah, so do I. I've said that as well.
And I mean, when did people actually think that like Man City would be behind Celtic in the Champions League format? But that's just the way it's working because they've got a tougher fixture list like Sporting Lisbon and all these teams, Graham. So I think it's working out well, but I don't think it's working out how these bigger teams wanted it to work out.
Mate, Real Madrid are 24th.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just watching Arsenal. I'm just watching Arsenal go 2-1 up, and quite disappointing, Graham. But
I knew they'd win that end.
aye. Anyway, I mean, in terms of the actual overall picture, I mean, Celtic are in a great place at the minute, Graham. So I don't think you can really argue with what they're doing.
I mean, Rangers' next two games are Tottenham in the Europa League on Thursday, and obviously then Celtic next week. They won 3-0 today. I started the show with that Rangers game. I mean, two big games for Rangers. How season-defining could this be for them?
Yeah, Graham, and to be honest with you, mate, I'm hoping to be at both. I've sorted my ticket for Sunday yesterday, and I'm hoping to be at the game on Thursday. So yeah, it should be a big week.
Big game for Tottenham today as well, because they take on Chelsea later on today as well. I mean, that is a massive game for Postecoglou. And like I mentioned earlier, coming back to Glasgow, going to Ibrox, he's under a little bit of pressure. Two big games for him coming up as well.
Well, Graham, do you know, I actually feel bad for Ange because if you don't know the bigger picture, Graham, I think that actually Ange has been mistreated by the board, you know, because people will look at the money that Spurs have spent, right? But if you look at the overall squad depth that we had last year, Højbjerg, people like that, and see now, Graham, we've got people like Bergvall, it's his first season in European football. Oh, Graham, that the Arsenal goal's been chopped off.
Hey, that's a shame.
That's also good for your title ambitions as well, Graham. So I'm even more happy for that because
certainly is.
Yeah, but it's been chopped off. But I think in terms of Ange, he'll be looking to get that Rangers victory over because it's also good to get bragging rights, but it's also about trying to get Spurs back on the winning trail because if you think about Spurs, Graham, I don't think they're going to win the Europa League because I think they've got too many inconsistent players. And I don't know if you agree, but sometimes Andrew's a little bit stubborn as well, Graeme. I mean, he knows as well that this is what's going to frustrate me, Graeme, right? He's talking about today that basically he's going to play the ball from the back, but he knows he's not got a ball playing goalkeeper in Fraser Foster. And I don't know if you watched the game on Thursday night, Graeme, but he's got Fraser Foster playing the ball out for the back, and it almost caused 3 goals. You know, and I'm like, if he's not got the proper tools to do that, then don't play yourself into trouble.
I mean, you look at, obviously, Lawrence Shanklin got a lot of stick after the Cercle Bruges game, and Leo says hopefully Shanklin kickstarts your season. But I mean, if you look at the stick that Lawrence Shanklin got, and then look at the stick that Postecoglou got on Thursday against Bournemouth, he was getting called Postecoglou, he was getting abuse. I mean, this game on Thursday is going to be massive for him, obviously, as well as today. But if you look at the league table, Rangers are currently sitting 8th, Spurs are sitting 9th. They're both on 10 points. It's a big game for both of them.
It is, Graeme, but I think, especially for Rangers, because Rangers have got Manchester United next, but Spurs are playing, is it Elfsborg of Sweden? So you'd expect them to beat Elfsborg of Sweden. So I think overall Spurs will go through to the top 8, Graeme, but I don't think it'll be the team that won the competition, because they've got too many players that don't show up in big matches.
Well, if you're Rangers playing against Man United, all you've got to do is shoot from distance and you'll score, because that Onana is awful.
Oh, Nana, what's his name? He's no fooling anybody with the actual presence in the goal. I want to ask you as well, what do you think of the Portuguese manager in at Man U, Graeme? Because, like, he took off Fernandes straight after he scored 3-2 yesterday. I'm just a bit surprised. I'm like, surely the guy's just scored you a goal and you're taking him off.
I don't think it was that. I think it was the subs that he made. I mean, I don't think Aberdeen's got a very good squad there. I think it's quite a poor squad. He's going to have to do a lot of work with that squad come January and the summer. He's going to have to get rid of a lot of players. I mean, you're still bringing on guys like Harry Maguire, who, let's be honest, shouldn't be there. They just don't have enough quality. And that's going to be a big difference. I think he'll do all right. His style of football might be all right, but I just think that he's got a very poor squad there, and he's going to have a lot of work to do with that squad. I mean, what is it they spent £600 million on that squad?
Sorry, Graeme, what a goal for Leicester. 2 minutes ago, Graeme, they were 2-0 down to Brighton, and now they're 2 each. Jimmy Vardy just pulled them back. 2-2. Ruud van Nistelrooy.
Good stuff. Let's look, before we get back to the Premier League, there's 2 games to talk about from yesterday. I just want to touch as well quickly on Thursday, because Hearts go to Copenhagen in the Conference League. Copenhagen have been very, very good in their league. It's kind of a difficult game. Hearts currently sitting 17th. We are 3 points off 8th place. It's a big, big chance for Hearts to qualify, although I think we've got a game the week after against Petrocard and Moldova at home, which I think might get us through. But the big games keep coming for Hearts. Reagan, I think we've got to take a lot of confidence from yesterday, and none more so than Lawrence Shanklin. Now he's got that 2 goals yesterday. We can go into this game on Thursday with a lot more confidence, I think.
I think it was Copenhagen that Kilmarnock faced.
It was, yeah.
In the qualifying playoff. So I think overall, this is a game that, Copenhagen, right? They beat Man U about 2-3 years ago in the quarterfinal of the Europa Trophy. But I don't think it's somebody that Hearts will be dreading playing. I think if they played to their genuine capability, it'll be a close game. But I think Copenhagen, have they got Mohamed El Younousi, who played in Scotland before, so they've been playing that surely can open a door. But hopefully, from a Scottish football point of view, Hearts can get a victory.
I certainly hope so. Anyway, let's look at the other 2 games from yesterday, starting off at Tannadice. Dundee United 1, Kilmarnock 1. The opening goal came on 79 minutes for United through Sam Dalby after the keeper parried it out straight to him. But the equaliser came on the 95th minute through a Bruce Anderson penalty. Now, again, watching the highlights yesterday, Reagan, I thought United probably did just about enough to win. But the one player that right now is on form for them, and the league's top goal scorer, Sam Dalby, on 6 goals, he has been an excellent signing for them.
Yeah, he's been great, Graeme, and that'll be a big problem for Celtic. And 2 weeks' time going up to Dundee United because he's playing well. And I said this on Friday, but fair play to Jim. He's really, really shown he's a top manager. And he's managing to get performances out of these Dundee United players that we didn't think were possible this season. So fair play to him.
I mean, watching that, like I said, watching the highlights, it's difficult to get a gauge on what the game was like. But I mean, certainly there wasn't really much in the way of chances. First half, I think United probably the better of them. But the second half, it was a much more kind of open game. I think both teams really going for it. You know, the first goal, like I said, Sam Darby, it's not the best to push it from Mahara, the goalkeeper. Sam Darby scores, but the big moment in the game comes in the 95th minute, Reagan, the penalty kick. Did you think it was a penalty? The challenge from O'Dada on Wales, did you think it was a penalty?
It's one of these ones, Graeme, where I think it's like if it's your team, you're saying yes, but if it's no, then it's a kind of debatable one.
Yeah, they were talking about it on Sports last night, and Neil McCann and Aidan McGeady were very split on it because McCann thought it was a penalty and McGeady didn't. I can see where McGeady's going with that, though, because the ball is actually going away from him. So I can understand why it maybe wouldn't have been given. But at the time, I didn't see enough contact. And you see the replay, and there is definitely contact there on his foot. So I can see why it was given. And to be fair to the Bruce Anderson, that's how you take a penalty. Just blast it.
Yeah, I think he was somebody that was really underrated playing in Edinburgh for David Martindale's Livingston, Graeme. So I think overall he's somebody that's not really got a chance this season. Every time I've watched Kilmarnock, it's been Watkins. But I think overall, Graeme, that's somebody that can score a goal. And it's big news. I mean, Liverpool have not played this weekend, Graeme, but both of the challengers have dropped points this weekend. Arsenal have finished at 1-1. And obviously Man City drew 2-2.
Excellent. We've got a game in hand as well. Fantastic.
And Graeme, I think if Spurs beat Chelsea, then I think Liverpool will be on for this title.
It's too early to say. I don't want to get too excited because it's too early to say. But yeah, I mean, it's looking all right so far, to be fair. And you got, hopefully, the news that came out last night, if it's true, the possibility that Mo Salah may be signing a new 2-year contract would be absolutely huge. If it's true, of course. Hopefully get announced in the next few days.
Yeah, that'd be massive. And I'm just watching Ipswich. They were 1-0 up there, Graeme, and Bournemouth have just scored a last-minute goal. I think that's to make it 1-1 or else 2-1. Yeah, Ipswich were winning 1-0 there, and then now it's just went to either 1-1 or 2-1. I'll try that saying, but Mo Salah, I mean, what a player he's been, Graeme. I mean, he's been absolutely fantastic, and I think Liverpool fans will I think they'll probably appreciate Salah when he leaves the club. But I mean, what a player he's been, Graeme. I mean, absolutely brilliant.
The thing is, he doesn't even have to play well in a game, and he scores. That's just what the quality players do. They don't have to play that well, but they can still find a way to go. He's phenomenal. But I mean, looking at United against Kilmarnock, I mean, United have had a very good season. As I say, currently sitting fourth. They'll be disappointed not to win the game yesterday, but again, we talked about it on Friday on the show. United have had a very good season. Massive credit to Jim Goodwin. He's signed very well. Do you think United could actually get that top 4 this season? Or is that a stretch too far?
I think they could, Graeme. I think they could because they're showing that they're a very good team. And they've got a lot more confidence, I would say, than Derek McInnes' side or even Hearts. You know, I don't know how many points Hearts are off Dundee United, but I think if Hearts can get a wee roll going, then possibly they could do it.
We're 11 points behind. Long way to go. 11 points behind is a long way to catch up. But I mean, you look at Kilmarnock again. I mean, they're having a very poor season. I suppose it's a point they'll be happy with. But what is going on with Derek McInnes' side this season? Because they look miles off the team that it used to be.
Can I be honest with you here? I think there's a real discipline issue right through to the manager, to the players.
Well, they've had 6 red cards this season.
I think for one, Graeme, maybe Derek McInnes is going through the motions, not meaning to, Graeme, because all this Rangers talk.
Mm-hmm.
I also feel that, you know how when Guardiola was it, I'm not comparing Derek McInnes to Guardiola, but did you know how like during the season there was a kind of Derek McInnes to Rangers and all these journalists that do these hotlines and all that, they were saying Derek McInnes would be the man to step in, and I do think that that's probably something that is crept into the players, but it's also crept into the manager as well. Maybe he's going through the motions.
I mean, you're looking at that Kilmarnock side, and they do have really good players in there, like Kyle Vassell. They got Danny Armstrong, who was touted for a move as well. I don't think they've been anywhere near the level that they should be, and they've got Hearts next week, and we know how this is going to go. They've got Hearts at Rugby Park next week. That is going to be a massive game because right now, looking at the league table, Hearts are 11th on 13 points, Kilmarnock are 10th on 14 points. That becomes a massive, massive game for both sides next week.
Yeah, it's a very good game to watch as well, Graeme. But I think Hearts are going to go in a row now. I do. I think the teams that are going to be struggling for me is going to be Hibs, Ross County, and St Johnstone. So I really see these clubs really like. I see Hearts pulling away. But who was the team that Hearts are playing?
When on Thursday or Sunday?
Sunday.
We've got Kilmarnock away next week.
Yeah, I mean Kilmarnock. I don't know how far Kilmarnock are off the top four, but they just seem to be too inconsistent. I mean, even that game yesterday, I said to you on Friday that I expect Dundee United to win, but that was a game last season that you expected them to really do. But I heard a Kilmarnock fan on a different show yesterday, and he was saying that basically it's because of European football. No, Graeme, as much as I love Scottish teams being in Europe and all that sort of stuff, but I really don't buy into it because
Kilmarnock are 10 points off the top four.
That's not too bad, but then you also don't think Kilmarnock can really put a string of results together. I would actually go for Hearts to win that game next week. But as I was saying, I was listening to a Kilmarnock fan yesterday, and he was saying that basically it's because of European football. And I don't buy into that, Graeme, because I think I'm right in saying Kilmarnock's last European game was, I think it was the first week in August, something like that. So
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I mean, it's a couple of that's about 4 months away. So I think it's okay to make excuses, but I just think from the manager to the players, everybody switched off a little bit. And I don't mean this to be bad, but maybe because I remember at Celtic, right, when Neil Lennon was in charge, because Celtic were winning all the time, sometimes Celtic knew they didn't need to play to their best. So maybe the fact that like Derek McInnes has done really well with Commander the past 2 seasons in the Premiership, maybe they've just subconsciously thought, right, maybe the only thing we need to do here is show up, you know? Sometimes that's what happens. I know it's difficult to say, but sometimes that's what happens. Maybe players like go into games and go, but if I just turn up here, then everything will click into place.
Yeah, well, that's going to be a massive game next week. Come on against Hearts next Sunday. The final game in the Premier League yesterday was St Mirren 0, Motherwell 1. Tony Watt's 94th minute goal after Alex Gogic got sent off in the 93rd minute. Again, going by the highlights, there wasn't really a lot of quality in the game. But the one real moment of quality was a brilliant ball in from Lennon Miller and a goal from Tony Watt. And I don't know if our pal Stephen's watching this, but we spoke on Friday, Reagan, about how big this game was for Motherwell, and they've managed to get 3 points. That's a huge result for Stuart Kettlewell, who has been under a bit of pressure recently.
Yeah, he has, and it's been bad, madness. I know they've had a few rookie results, like getting beat home to Hibs, but yeah, they've done well this season, Motherwell. But I said to you on Friday, I do think January or the summer is a time for reflection where they will probably get rid of the best player for big money. But yeah, fair play to him yesterday. That was a game that I said to you on Friday that I fancied St Mirren just because I didn't expect Dundee to really go there and do that as much damage as they did to Motherwell a few times there, 4-1 during the week. So I didn't expect that, but fair play to Motherwell for bouncing back.
And it's the man of many clubs, Tony Watt, that dives in for the goal as well. I mean, he's been around for so long, Tony Watt. It's a good header.
I mean, Tony Watt's a strange one because a lot of people get rid of him because of the maybe attitude problems or stuff off the field, or maybe remember he was arguing with the Motherwell chief executive when he scored for Dundee United. So I think nobody can deny Tony Watt's ability. I mean, Graeme, I don't know how well you remember, but I remember he played for Scotland with that pink strip years and years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So Tony Watt's got the talent, Graeme, but it's all about doing it week after week.
It's funny to talk about Motherwell under pressure when they're sitting 5th in the league. I mean, it does seem mental to think that Stuart Kett was under any pressure, given after what happened last season as well.
Well, as I said to you the other day, see a good season for Motherwell. I'm not being disrespectful to them, but see like the administrator at Motherwell, the cook, like all of these people are probably paid a lot of money by the club, and it's important these guys keep their jobs, because I'm imagining if Motherwell's a local club, so I'm imagining if Motherwell go down, some of these people will lose their jobs, and that's a shame. And it's the most important thing for Motherwell, the football club with their kind of history in the Premier League, is that they managed to stay in there.
I mean, if we look at St Mirren, I mean, it wasn't a game of great quality, obviously that one goal winning the game, but I mean, against St Mirren, they'll be disappointed not to have done more in that game yesterday. You know, obviously Gogic gets sent off late in the game, but St Mirren, disappointing result for them yesterday, but a bit like Motherwell, they're currently sitting 7th. It's not been a bad season so far for Stephen Robinson.
No, it's no, Graeme. And I think Stephen Robinson's a great manager. I don't think that he's up to the level of an Aberdeen manager or a Hearts manager even. But what Stephen Robinson's done is he always goes into clubs. I compared Jim Goodwin to the Sam Allardyce of clubs, and I think Stephen Robinson's the same. Look at the job he did with Motherwell. I think he got Motherwell to third in the table one year, Graeme.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so he's about punching up. He's a kind of manager that punches above his weight, and that's what Stephen Robinson and Jim Goodwin do. And fair play to them for doing that, because it's very hard to do it on a small budget as well.
Alex Gogic now missing for St Mirren's next game with that sending off. How big a blow will he be? Because I think he's been quite good for St Mirren this season.
Yeah, he's been very good. I don't know what it is, Graeme, but Alex Gogic always seems to be on the edge.
He does.
See, if you look at I watched the game against Aberdeen because I'm quite enjoying watching Aberdeen now, but I didn't watch them yesterday because I was at the Celtic game. But even in the Aberdeen game, if I remember, it was John Beaton got my straight red card, and then he changed it to VAR. So he always seems to be on the edge. And I think in terms of him, I think he'll just be happy to be out there playing. And I'm sure now he's got international recognition with Cyprus as well. So no, fair play to him.
So that was the Premiership games yesterday. Celtic, as I say, now 9 points clear of Aberdeen. Aberdeen completely dropped off a little bit. The bottom of the league is very, very tight, as we all know. Hibs currently sitting bottom on 12 points, but Hearts only a point above them on 13. Let's drop into the Championship. Results yesterday: Dunfermline 3, Hamilton 2, Falkirk 3, Wraith 0, Morton 0, Livingston 0, Partick 1, Ayr 0, and Queen's Park 2, Airdrie 0. Falkirk have now opened up an 8-point gap on Livingston, who are sitting second in the league. Leo Heggie says, Falkirk in the Premiership next season. Thoughts? Well, I think that's probably going to happen, Reagan. And we said it on Friday, if that does happen, they deserve it, because the football they've played this season has been fantastic.
Yeah, Graeme, I'm sorry, but if I'm in the Falkirk bookies right now, I'm calling it out. I'm saying that league's finished. You know, because I'm not being disrespectful to David Martindale's side or Scott Brown, but Falkirk just seem to be on a roll. And, like, it's a bit like Hearts and Kilmarnock at the moment. Like, you expect Falkirk to win 2 or 3 games in a row, and you don't see that with Livingston at the moment. I mean, they win 2 and then they draw, and then they draw 2 and then they lose 2. So I think overall, I don't think Falkirk will have any problems to go up. And that's credit to John McGlynn. I mean, I know you said that you wouldn't have him as manager, but John McGlynn is a really good manager. I mean, we've had Alan Risk on the show, and he's always talked about it. But I'm just glad Falkirk are there because what they're doing very well, Graeme, is that they play good football, but also see if you look at it in terms of like a Livingston and all that, and maybe even a Ross County. What Falkirk will do, Graeme, is they'll sell at the stadium because they're selling at the stadium right now. I mean, that's the only grind that I've got with teams like St Johnstone at the moment, and even teams like Ross County. Because see if a team like Celtic, Rangers, Hearts, or Aberdeen, see if you're not selling them to your home fans, then you should make sure that people like yourself, Graeme, the Hearts supporters, should get as much allocation as possible, or even Aberdeen or Rangers or Celtic, because we like, if you go on to like YouTube or any of these platforms, I mean, all you need to do is listen to some of these people that talk about Scottish football, and I know they're not complimentary in the slightest about it. So it's important that we sell a product as best we can.
I mean, for anyone looking to find out how Falkirk might do in the league if they come up next season, all you've got to do is look at this season. They've beat Hearts in the League Cup, deservedly so, in the game at Falkirk, and then went to Celtic Park. And let's be honest, first half played Celtic off the pitch. So you mentioned the fact that they play really good football, and I was going to mention the fact that we have Alan Risk on the show as well. He's living life as a Falkirk fan, and rightly so, because some of the football they play, they are very, very good to watch. They're attacking, they know what their style is, and I don't see them, if they come up, and obviously if John McGlynn stays, I don't see them changing that style for the Premier League.
No, and I think it's a good story as well, because you look at through the 11 players, they've got the guy at Celtic, Calvin Miller, they've got Cole Donaldson, they've got I'm trying to think, that guy Morrison. They've got a lot of players in there, Graeme, that you think that have been rejected by like Premier League clubs before, and then they've kind of revitalised their time in football. So no, I like to see those kind of stories as well.
Disappointing result for Livingston yesterday, a 0-0 draw with Morton. But yet again, like I said on Friday, the disappointing team at the moment is Airdrie, currently now 10 points away from 9th place Morton. It is looking very much likely that Rhys McCabe, who we all talked about earlier on in the season, it looks very much likely that they're going to be going down to League One, which is a massive disappointment.
I mean, Graeme, in terms of Airdrie, I think they'll be disappointed in terms of what they can offer, and I think 10 points is a big gap to make up.
Really puts me off watching Independence Leicesters when it's football orientated. Well, don't watch it then. Turn it off. I couldn't give a monkey's, mate. We've done this show for years and years and people like it. You don't like it, switch off. Don't comment. Anyway, yeah, I mean, you look at that championship table, the one I would love, and I've said this on Friday, the one I'd love the story to come up is Queen's Park. They are currently only 1 point off top 4. I mean, honestly, it would be an amazing story if they did manage to get promoted. I don't think it'll happen, but it'll be a great story if they did.
Aye, because Queen's Park, I mean, they're I think they're the oldest club in Scottish football as well. Games will be good to see Falkirk, it'll be good to see Queen's Park as well, because these clubs, they're well supported. Because like, I'm not being disrespectful to Ross County again and like St Johnstone, but every time Rangers and Celtic go there, there's no many fans there as well. So if Falkirk are selling tickets in Queen's Park, so I think it's important that we showcase Scottish football to the best that we're able to. Aye.
Another disappointment for me is Raith Rovers, currently sitting 8th in the league. They were a team that I expected to do well this season. Obviously, Ian Murray left to start the season. They've had a complete fall off. You know, Neil Collins has come in. They've had such a disappointing season so far. I mean, I don't know, get relegated. don't think there's a chance of that, but it's been such a disappointment for them.
I think it's been disappointing for the very start because obviously they had that Ian Murray, Rafe Rovers before, and it was a bit of a strange one how he left. But I think it's fair to say that the manager's no really had the impact that he would have wanted, Graeme.
So that is the championship. I did say we were going to end this short. I did say an hour, but we've managed to do an hour and 50 minutes because Reagan came on, which was good to see. We will be back on Tuesday. Thank you, as always, to Reagan. We're back on Tuesday to cover Champions League as they take on Dinamo Zagreb. We're also back on Thursday to talk Rangers against Tottenham, a massive, massive game in that Europa League, and Hearts in the Conference League on Thursdays. We take on Copenhagen. Going to be tough. We are then back on Friday, normal time of 5 till 7. And like I said at the start of the show, Friday is the World Cup qualifying draw, which Scotland will be in. So we'll find out who Scotland are going to play. So that'll be a big topic conversation. And looking ahead to the games, including that big League Cup final on Sunday, which we'll be doing a show on that as well.
I just want to say, but on Friday we're going to be joined by somebody from the Celtic Exchange podcast. So we'll be joined by him live at 5 on Friday. So that'll be good.
See, I didn't know that. See, it just goes to show you never always got after on the show. But anyway, thank you to everyone. Hope you have a cracking end of the weekend. Have a really good week, and we'll see you again and do all again on Tuesday. See you later, folks.